So, welcome everyone, and thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. I want to talk to you today about something that maybe does not get talked about enough: the exhaustion. Not ordinary tiredness, though there is plenty of that too. The deeper exhaustion. The one that comes when you've been trying and trying and trying, and it is not working. Now, you have done everything right. You have read all the books, you've tried the techniques, you've pushed through when you wanted to stop. You have held it together for yourself, for your family, and for everyone who depends on you. You have white-knuckled your way through more than anyone knows. And still something is not shifting. Still you wake up at night with a weight on your chest. Still the anxiety hums beneath the surface. And still you're running on fumes and pretending to be fine. Now, this is not the part where I'm going to tell you to try harder. You have tried harder, it did not work. That is not a character flaw. That is information. So let me tell you what is actually happening, or what may actually be happening for you from a clinical perspective. So your nervous system, the sensitive system that runs your entire body, was never designed to do this alone. It was designed for co-regulation, for connection, and for moments of rest that actually feel restful. So when we are under chronic stress, the sympathetic nervous system, which is also the fight or flight branch, it stays activated. The body pumps out cortisol and adrenaline, and the muscles stay tense. The breath stays shallow, and the system keeps scanning for danger, even when you're lying in bed at night. And here is the thing: you cannot think your way out of this state. You cannot willpower your way out. The nervous system does not respond to lectures or good intentions. It responds just to one thing: safety. And often it cannot feel safe until something else, something outside of your own efforting, helps it settle. In other words, you were never meant to do this alone. And if you've been trying to, if you've been the strong one, the capable one, the one who holds everyone else together, I want you to know that the exhaustion you feel is not weakness. It is your body's way of saying, this is too much, and something needs to change. Now, there is a moment, and if you've experienced it, you know exactly what I'm talking about, when you finally admit, I cannot do this alone. Now, this is not a moment of defeat, though it might feel like one. It is actually a moment of profound honesty, humility, and of finally telling the truth. I cannot fix this by trying harder. I cannot control my way out of this, and I cannot hold all of this anymore. For most people, this moment comes in crisis, a breakdown, a diagnosis, an addiction that has become undeniable, a relationship that has shattered. And for others, it comes more quietly, a slow dawning, a weariness that has accumulated over years, a whispered recognition. I am so tired of carrying all this. However it comes, this moment is sacred. Not because it feels good, it usually does not, but because it is the moment when something else becomes possible. Now, from a clinical perspective, here is what is happening in this moment. The thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex, is finally letting go of its grip. The part of you that is always strategizing and planning and problem solving, it is admitting that it does not have the answer. And when that happens, something else can come online. Now, in polyvagal theory, we talk about the ventral vagal state, which is a state of safety and connection. This state is not something you can force, but it is something you can drop into. And it requires a kind of letting go. Now, in spiritual traditions, this same moment is described differently. They call it surrender, they call it grace, they call it dark night of the soul, giving way to the dawn. So in my experience, the language varies, but the experience is remarkably similar across cultures, centuries, belief systems, and modalities. Something happens when we stop fighting. Something comes in when we make room. So if letting go is so powerful, why do we resist it so fiercely? Because letting go feels like dying. Not physically, though sometimes it can feel like that. But the ego, the part of us that's been running the show, experiences surrender as a kind of death. And it will fight against it with everything it has. There are also very good reasons we learn to hold on. Maybe when you were young, no one was there to hold things for you. So you learned to do it yourself. You became capable, independent, self-sufficient. These were not flaws. These were survival strategies, and they got you through. Maybe you learned that depending on others leads to disappointment, that asking for help was weakness, and the only person you could really count on was yourself. And so your nervous system learned, stay vigilant, stay in control, do not let your guard down. Now, this is not pathology, this is intelligent adaptation. Your system did what it needed to do to keep you safe. But here is the thing about survival strategies. They have an expiration date. What kept you alive at 10 may be exhausting you at 44. What protected you then may be imprisoning you now. The white-knuckling that got you through the hard years is burning you out now. You've been doing an amazing job. Really, you have. The fact that you're still here, still functioning, and still showing up is remarkable. And you're also exhausted. So both things are true. And at some point, the amazing job of holding it all together has to give way to something else. Not because you failed, but because you were never meant to do this forever. Now let me be clear about something. Surrender is not giving up. Giving up is collapse. It is resignation. It is nothing matters anyway, and why bother trying? Surrender is something else entirely. Surrender is an active opening. It is making room. It is the moment when instead of gripping tighter, you open your hands. Not because you do not care, because you finally understand that the gripping is not helping. Now, neurologically, when we surrender, when we genuinely let go, the nervous system also begins to shift. The sympathetic activation starts to soften, the breath deepens, the muscles release their chronic tension. We move from the defended state of I have to handle this myself into the more open state of I am willing to be helped. And in that shift, the body can finally begin to heal. Now, from a spiritual perspective, surrender is the moment we stop insisting that our small individual will is the only force available. It is the recognition that there is something larger. Call it life, call it grace, call it the field, call it your body's wisdom, call it God, call it whatever. And that this something is not against us. It is not punishment or abandonment, it is support. It is what holds the stars in place and beats your heart without you having to think about it. It is what has been carrying you all along, even when you thought you were doing it alone. The clinical and the spiritual are not at odds here. They are actually describing the same shift from different angles. The nervous system moving from isolation to connection. The soul moving from struggle to rest. So the whole human being is finally allowing itself to be held. Now, I want to talk about this something larger without putting a name on it that might not be yours. This is not about religion. It is not about believing the right things or saying the right prayers. It is about experience. One that is available to everybody, regardless of what you believe or do not believe. Here is what I've observed, both in my own life and in working with clients. When people genuinely let go, when they stop trying to control and fix and manage everything, something often comes in. A sense of peace that does not make logical sense. A feeling of being supported. Solutions that appear without being forced. A settling in the body that all the trying could not produce. I do not pretend to know exactly what this is. I'm not sure anyone does. But I do know that this is real. I have felt it, and I have witnessed it in others as well. Some people call it grace. Some people call it universe. Some call it their higher self. Some also call it God. And some do not call it anything at all. They just notice that when they stop fighting, life seems to meet them halfway. What I know is we are not isolated systems. We are not separate from the life that flows through everything. The same force that grows trees from seeds and heals wounds without your conscious effort is available to you. It has been here all along. It does not need you to name it or understand it or even believe in it. It just needs you to stop blocking it. And by the way we block it is usually by insisting that we have to do everything ourselves, by gripping so tightly that there's no room for anything else to come in. The paradox of surrender is this: when you finally admit you cannot do it alone, you discover you never were. Something has been holding you this whole time. You just could not feel it through all the effort. I want to invite you into a practice now, and let's call it a somatic journey of letting yourself be held. If you are somewhere, you can close your eyes and turn inwards. Please do that. The journey deserves your full presence. Find a comfortable position. Sitting up or lying down. And if you're comfortable, you can let your eyes gently close. And take a breath. Just a normal breath, nothing special. I want you to start by noticing, where are you holding? Not to judge it, not to fix it. Where are you holding? Maybe it's your shoulders, maybe it's your lower back, maybe it's your jaw clenched, maybe it's your belly tight and guarded, or maybe it is everywhere. Just notice, where in your body are you gripping? Where are you bracing? Where are you working hard? Even now, even staying still. Now I want you to say something to that gripping, silently or out loud, or just receive my words. I see you. I know you've been trying so hard. Thank you for protecting me. I see you. I know you've been trying so hard. Thank you for protecting me. You do not have to force anything to release. You are simply acknowledging the effort, the years of holding, the vigilance that has kept you going. Now, I want to offer an invitation. Not a command, but an invitation. What if, just for the next few minutes, you did not have to hold yourself up? What if something else could hold you? Feel the surface beneath you, the floor, the bed, the chair. Feel how it is already holding your weight. You do not have to help it. You do not have to hold yourself. It is already doing the work. Can you let yourself sink a little bit deeper into that support? Not collapsing, just releasing. Letting gravity do what gravity does. Letting the earth hold you. And now let's expand that sense. Imagine the support beneath you extends in all directions. That you're being held not just by the floor, but something larger. Something that has always been there. You do not have to name it or understand it. Just feel it. A sense of being supported and carried. Let your breath deepen now. Not forced, just allowed. Let your body receive the breath instead of working to breathe. And with each exhale, let yourself release a little bit more of the holding, a little bit more of the vigilance, a little bit more of, I have to manage this. Now I want you to try something. You can say these words silently or out loud, or just receive my words. I cannot do this alone. I cannot do this alone. I cannot do this alone. Notice what happens in your body when you say that. Is there relief, fear, or both? Whatever arises is right for you. You are simply telling the truth. Say it again. I cannot do this alone. And I am willing to be helped. I cannot do this alone. And I am willing to be helped. Now just rest in that willingness. You're not doing anything. You're not trying to make something happen. You are simply open, available, and receptive. If something wants to come in right now, a sense of peace, a feeling of warmth, or a settling in the body, let it. You do not have to earn it or deserve it. You just have to make room for it. And if nothing dramatic happens, that is okay too. Sometimes the shift is subtle. Sometimes it comes later. Sometimes the practice itself is enough, and the willingness itself is surrender. Now slowly, gently bring your attention to the center of your chest and place a hand there if you like. Feel the beat of it, the life in it, the pulse that has been continuing without your effort every moment since you were born. Something has been keeping that heart beating, something beyond your will, your control, or your understanding. Can you trust that same something to help you with the rest? You do not have all the answers. You do not have to figure everything out. You just have to be willing to let something larger than you, something larger than your small, exhausted will to be part of the solution. Just take a few more deep breaths here. Deep and slow. Each inhale is a receiving, and each exhale is a release. Whenever you're ready now, just begin to bring your awareness back. Feel your body, feel the room around you, the sounds and the temperature. Wiggle your fingers, your toes. Take a deep breath. And gently in your own time, if your eyes were closed, you can open them. So here we are. Maybe something shifted in that practice. Maybe it did not, or not yet. Either way, something important has happened. You have admitted that you cannot do this alone, and you have made yourself available to be helped. That is not weakness, that is wisdom. The strongest people I know are the ones who never needed help. They are the ones who have learned how to receive it, who have stopped pretending they are invincible, who have discovered that letting go is not the same as giving up. Now you can still be competent and capable and get things done. You do not have to become passive or helpless. But maybe, just maybe, you can do all of that without the white knuckling, without the 3M anxiety, without the chronic tension that has been your constant companion. Maybe you can let something else carry some of that weight for you. From a clinical perspective, your nervous system needs co-regulation. It needs moments of safety. It needs to know that you are not alone. And from a spiritual perspective, you are part of something larger than your individual will. And that something is not indifferent to you. It is actively supporting you all the time in ways that you cannot see. The practice is simple, not easy, but simple. Notice when you are gripping. Tell the truth about your exhaustion and let yourself be held. You were never meant to do this alone, and you do not have to. Something is carrying you. It always has been. Your only job is to stop fighting it long enough to feel it. So thank you very much for joining me today, and namaste.